Hey there hunters, welcome back to the Gunners Guild. Obviously today I'm going to be going over the new arc-tempered Kulve equipment and the meta shift that comes with it. Let's dive right in. I'm going to start off with bows. Now here's the list of the new bows that arc-tempered Kulve drops. I'm going to start with the blast bow because, well, it's a blast bow. Despite not needing free element and having crit status built in, no, it's not something that's going to be meta by any means. On average, this bow is going to deal about 70 to 130 less damage per power shot crit compared to using a bow of the proper element on a monster. So at best, if you're getting a blast proc on every single hit, you might break even with an elemental bow. The only actual use I can see for blast bows is doing a multi-monster hunt under time attack rules where you can't switch your bow and you can't get an elemental bow to cover all your bases. But that's about it. So, no blast bows. Now, moving on to the other bows. You might think, wow, the elemental is super low, it can't be good. Well, that's not exactly true. While element is super nice, the fact that these bows don't need free element nor Rathalos gear for the crit element gives them way more flexibility with their builds. Let's start with the new Decay bow. I'm going to compare Decay bow to Queen, the other Kulve dragon bow. Queen hits Rathalos head for 360 damage on a power shot crit. Now Decay does 396 damage. Queen has way more element, so how is this the case? Well, you have to consider power coatings. Both these bows were buffed with the usual food and items plus power coats. But because Decay has so much more room for raw boosting skills like peak performance and critical boost, the extra raw from the power coats multiplies on top of that really well. So in short, Decay is going to be my new go-to dragon bow. However, Devil Joe and Dragon Bone still have their uses, and depending on the situations, one can outperform the other. This is going to be my go-to, but under certain circumstances, I may change that. This one gets a thumbs up though, that's good. Up next is the obvious upgrade, the Stream Bow. Stream is actually the ice bow, don't let that confuse you. This bow has 60 less ice over Legiana, but it has more crit, more raw, and built-in crit element. The elemental loss is not a huge deal here either because the extra raw and slots for raw skills add up a lot. Against Lunostra's head, this bow hits for 348 on a power shot crit compared to Legiana's at 336. Not a big jump, but the new Stream Bow also sits at 95% affinity with stamina cap up, or you can go 100% affinity without it. I obviously went for stamina cap up, so there's another upgrade. Now Spark Bow looks pretty bad on paper, and it's definitely not going to win any contests here, but it's not awful. On Nergigante's head, which is admittedly not the best target, Spark hits for 246 on a power shot crit, and you're obviously not going to crit every shot. Thunder hits for 252, which is not much of a difference, it's one more per arrow, but this is a best case scenario to be honest. Thunder doesn't ever lose to Spark on a shot for shot basis, even on other monsters, but it's much easier to make sets with Spark. It's not a huge damage loss, and you can easily fit in stamina cap up here too, so this is a side grade, not immediately better, but it does have its uses for sure. I'm still on board here, so you still kind of want to get this bow. The water bow is an easy win here to be honest. This water bow hits Tio's head for 354 on a power shot crit, whereas the old water bow hits for 348. Again, not much of a difference, but the new bow also has 10% more affinity and stamina cap up. Now this set also runs peak performance, which is not really smart for Tio, however you can easily drop that in a rank of critical eye for attack 4, which will make the damage drop to 348 and tie with the old bow, but again you're going to have more affinity and stamina cap up, so this bow is going to be the new water bow for sure. For Fire Bow, it's kind of a mixed bag. Now against Kieran, this thing hits for 336 damage on a power shot crit, and comparing it to Anjanath, which hits for 354, it seems not too great. However, like the other bows, this bow does come with more affinity, and so on average damage is actually going to be pretty much the same as Anjanath. On top of this, we're also running stamina cap up. On things like Valhazak, Anjanath still hits harder, but again, it's not by much. So basically you're asking if you want to do damage or do you want stamina cap up and consistency. I still call it a side grade, but it's a pretty damn good bow still. Just give it a shot. I'm also giving this bow a pass. Trust me, it's going to have its uses. So overall, the bows are good. The built-in elemental crit and the awakening is superb. People really underestimate these bows because of the lack of element, but trust me, it's fine. Alright, light bowgun time, my favorite. Now I'm going to need some assistance in a few cases here, as I don't actually have all these weapons yet, so I can't really check the recoil and reload levels with weapon mods attached, so bear with me. I'm going to start with the elemental light bowguns. Now the problem with elemental ammo is that there's an easy checklist on how to maximize your damage. 100% crit element, and your elemental attack +3. There's a 3 motion value of raw that's added onto the shot, but it's really hard to actually bump up that tiny motion value. So what I'm trying to say is that these weapons are going to deal about the same damage as the other light bowguns we already have, because we can already get crit element, 100% crit, and your elemental attack 3. What these light bowguns do have though is other ammo varieties to a degree, which is the only really thing that we're kind of interested in. Arc-tempered Kulve bowguns all have dragon ammo, so you're not going to be running non-elemental boost here, sad face. But anyway, let's move on. I made all these sets with their proper element plus a dragon on top, so we're going to start with Fire Dragon. The only reason why you would need dragon and another element is on niche hunts with multiple monsters, or perhaps things like Luna or Diablos. So the King Light bowgun fires, well, fire ammo and dragon. And honestly, it can't really do much else. You need the 3 recoil mods to shoot the fire ammo properly, and you're never going to really get a chance to have good recoil on slicing and other things. So basically it's got bad mag sizes and recoil options on everything else, so yeah, fire is fire. It's good, it does its job, but that's about all. Moving on to the Ice Light bowgun. Now this one I'm interested in because of Lunastra. Ice and Dragon both do great work on her, and here you can easily fit in both elements on this bowgun. Outside of that, I'm not really seeing another reason for me to use this light bowgun currently. I don't believe it can utilize spread 3 better than Devil Joe, sadly, unless you can get it down to recoil 2 and normal reload with 2 recoil mods and a reload mod, but I don't see that happening. Even if you could run 2 recoil mods and bring the recoil down to 2 with slow reload, it still doesn't hit as hard as Devil Joe could. Alright, so the Thunder Light bowgun. This one caught my eye. So obviously, like the other elemental light bowguns, it can fire thunder and dragon ammo well. This one also loads ice though. It's not rapid fire, but it's got a huge clip size, especially for a light bowgun. This thing automatically makes ice heavy bowgun obsolete. On top of that, it can load 5 Pierce 2s with recoil 1 and normal reload. So this thing's kind of got a lot going on. I mean, I'm probably going to try this over a Great Bowgun for Pierce, because the Great Bowgun fires Pierce 1s, and this one can run Pierce 2s. The motion values are the same on Pierce 1, Pierce 2, but Pierce 2's ticks in a smaller gap, so you can get more hits in. Great Bowgun has more raw due to non-elemental boost, but Pierce 2s might make up for that. I can't really crunch the numbers on that because it's more of a, you have to test it and kind of see how it goes, but I like this bowgun, it can do a lot. Now, last of the elemental light bowguns is Decay. Obviously it does water well, nothing special there, but the only other thing I'm interested in is that it can load spread 3, but unfortunately I don't have this one, so I can't check the recoil and reloads on it. I assume since it appears to be the Val replacement that it runs at recoil 2 and slow reload, just the same as Val does and the same as Joe does. Now if that's the case, then this light bowgun will be able to do the same damage as Devil Joe, but also be able to run dragon ammo with elemental crit without losing on any of the spread damage, unlike Devil Joe. So this is going to be my new go-to spread light bowgun in the event that I have to run spread and dragon, which I do often. Again though, it's not a huge improvement otherwise, it's only really going to be used in that niche situation where you're going to run spread and dragon. Otherwise, raw spread on Devil Joe is going to be better. Still good though. The other new light bowguns, like the Claw, doesn't really do anything special as far as I can tell. It seems pretty lackluster, and Bomber looks like hot garbage. That's all for the light bowguns. Now remember, you don't have to split these into dragon like I did. You can easily toss in like 6 more raw with attack decorations, but that's about it. There's not really room for much else. Now lastly, we have heavy bowguns, and there's not really many changes here, to be honest. Cluster's got a slight improvement with the Kulve Gamma feat, because we can basically squeeze on like 1 more point of agitator and we get heat guard for free, so that's cool. But that's really all. The new Magma heavy bowgun, which is basically the Zora heavy bowgun, is, well, the Zora heavy bowgun. It comes with crit status, but no one's going to be running affinity on a cluster heavy bowgun, so it's nothing special there. And it doesn't even get stickies like Zora does. I don't know why they took that out, so I don't really see the point of this bowgun. Then there's the new horn in town, and I'm really liking the way this one looks. Now, this thing is not as strong as the old horn because it can't run non-elemental boost, but it also can't really utilize Dragon very well since you can't have recoil 2 if you're running 2 or 3 close range mons for a Wyvern Heart anyway. What this does do over horn is that it has status crit, which we're going to be running 100% crit, so there might be a situation where you can get in a paralysis with 2 shots over 3, but it also has stickies for a KO, which horn does not have. This horn has more ammo to play with, so I'm kind of excited to try this out. It's definitely going to be a good one though. The elemental heavy bowguns are pretty lackluster, so I'm not really going to go over those. They're not really any different from what we currently have. The only thing that stands out is that the new water heavy bowgun is going to be using Pierce, and it's probably better at Pierce than support. On paper, it beats support by like 8 effective raw, but that probably doesn't really mean anything. It might not even change damage numbers on some monsters. So it is what it is. It can run Pierce. But alright, so that's basically it for the update. Previous sets from the Xeno Gamma update are pretty much all unchanged with the Arc-Tempered Kulve gear, so don't really worry about that too. I punched in a bunch of the sets and none of that came out, so I'm not going to be using AT Kulve much. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good luck out there, hunters.